Welcome to the second part of Beginner's Guide to Scripting. In the last video, I covered all of these. So we have if statements, function, while loop, and for loop. So if you're not familiar with any of this, I recommend you go check out the last video and then come back to this. But in this video, we are going to make Leaderstats and also cover events. So we can remove all of this, and first we'll start with Leaderstats. So we will get players. So we create a new variable, game.players. And then we do players.playerAdded. So this is an event when the player gets added. Let me just pull this up. Okay, so first when a player enters the game, here we have a basic explanation on how it works. And then we'll connect that to the function. So we put colon connect and then function, open another set of brackets and put a player inside. So this player is basically the player that we get when they join the game. Now we'll make a new variable inside of this function. We'll call it Leaderstats and it will be equal to instance.new. And what this instance.new thing does is basically creating a new thing. So it can be a part or a string or a value or anything like that. And what we will create will be a folder. And now if you've watched any Roblox tutorial before, they probably do something like this. Leaderstats.parent equals player to parent it to the player. Because we want the Leaderstats folder to be inside of the player. But we are not gonna do that because there's an easier way. We can just go back here and you can only do this if you're creating a new instance. You can put comma and then do player. So that's an easier way of parenting the Leaderstats to the player. Then I will go drop down a line and put Leaderstats.name. So this is how we will name this folder. And its name will be Leaderstats. So it will be named exact same as I named it up here. Of course, this is just a variable. So this is like a temporary name. You can put anything here like ls or something like that. But this thing, it's important to be named Leaderstats. Then we'll make another variable. This time it will be money. And it will also be equal to instance.new. But this time we're not making a folder, it will be an int value. And we'll also parent it to the Leaderstats. But now you're probably asking what an int value is. So let me show you. If I add a part, and then inside of it we can add an int value. And this is one sort of many values. And int value is primarily number, but it can also be letters. So as you can see, it can be letters, but it can also be numbers. And now that's not the only value we have inside of Roblox Studio. If we search value, and as you can see, we have bool value, brick value, C-frame, color tree, int, number, and many other. But the primary ones we'll be using in this series will be bool value, int value, number value, string, and object value. So let me show you what these do. If we insert a bool value, this is basically a value that tells us if it's true or false. So, for example, if you have a GUI and you have like, when you press a key on your keyboard, it opens. And then what we can do is set this value inside of the GUI to be true. So then we know that it's opened. So if you have an animation of the GUI closing, then the script can just read this information and see that the value is true. So the GUI is open. And when you click the button again, it can just set this to false and then animate it to close. Then we have number value, which is basically the same as int value, but only difference is you can't type any letters. So this can only have input of numbers and not letters. And similar to that, we have string value, which is very similar to the int value because you can also type words, but also numbers. And the last thing we have is object value, which doesn't take an input of letters and numbers, but it takes an input of a part or a model. And as you can see, when I click on this, we have this like icon on my mouse cursor. And when I go to this part, it's like highlighted and I can click on it. And then the value inside of this object value becomes this part. So that's it from these values. Some others I might explain in other videos, but we don't need them for now. So back inside of the script, we can also do money.name. So same as we did for the Leaderstats. And then we put quotation marks and put money. So this will be name of the Leaderstat or the points or anything you want. that will be up here at the top of the screen. And then we also do money.value, since this is an int value and we can change its value, and I will put 0 for now. You can see that my money is currently 0. I'm broke. But if we go back here and change this to 100, and as you can see, I have 100 money now. And same if we change this to, I don't know, maybe points instead of the money, it will change up here at the Leaderstats too. So that's basically how it works. This is the value and this is the name. And if we go inside the players, and then as you can see there's my name, and we drop this down, and there's our Leaderstats folder. If we drop it down, it has points, which is an int value, as we inserted it here, and it also has value of 100. So I will change this back into money and also set it 0. So this is a starting value for all the players, so everyone that joins. So if you don't have a system that saves these stats, it will just be 0 or any other number you put. But if you understand this basic scripting, I have a video on how to save Leaderstats, so you can go check that out if you're interested. But now we'll move to something else. So I will insert a folder inside the workspace and we'll rename it money parts. And we have this part here, and we can also rename it to money or anything you want. And I will insert a click detector. So since we are covering events, I will show you how you can make a part that when you click on, it will give you money. But of course, we don't just want one part, so that's the reason why we have a folder. We can just duplicate it. And I also forgot to anchor it, so it can actually stay in the air. And we can even recolor it to green, so it's more like visible. And the reason why we are putting them all inside of a folder is because we don't want to have a script inside of each one of these, but we rather want to put it inside of a one script, so every time one of these parts is clicked, it gives you money. So I will make a bit of space here, and we can do another variable, and it will be money parts. That will be its name. And then we put padding workspace dot money parts. And now I will make a for loop. So if you don't know what a for loop is, again go check out the last video. But we'll do for I, comma, part. Then we'll do in pairs. And what this does is basically just returns a table of items. And we do get children to get all the parts inside of this folder. And now we need another variable, which will be click detector. It will be equal to part. And then this time we will use find word child, which is a, as you can see here. And this is similar to find for child, but instead of find for child, where you need to input a name, even though we didn't change the name of this click detector, I will still use this because it's much easier. And then we just do click detector. So in the future, if for some reason you want to change the name of these click detectors, it will still work. Then we can do click detector dot mouse click, and then we'll do colon connect to another function, which again will be player inside of this. And then we do player dot Leaderstats, and then we do dot money. So make sure here is the same name as we put here instead of these quotation marks. And then again dot value, because we want to change the value of money. And then you can put plus and equal to, I don't know, 10 or anything you want. So basically what this function does is for each part inside of the money parts folder, here we make a variable and it finds a click detector. So even if we rename this, it will still remain a click detector. So we want to find first child, which is a click detector. And here when it's triggered, so if mouse clicks on it, we do colon connect to the function. And inside of this function, we do player.leaderstats.money.value plus equals 10. So it gives us 10 money. And I'm inside of the game. As you can see, I have 0 money. But if I click on this part, it gives me 10 money. And I can click on any other part, since we made a function that works for all of them. Okay, so we covered the click detector events. But now I will select this folder and duplicate it and move it here. And put it down a bit on the floor. And I will also recolor all of these parts to yellow. And now we can delete all of the click detectors inside of those new parts. And we'll rename this into money parts 2. And here you can just copy and paste this function, and I will also add a comment, money parts 1, and also here money parts 2. And if you don't know what comments are, it's basically just you put 2 lines, and then you can put anything on this whole line here, and it won't do anything because it's just a text. The script won't read it or anything. It's just for the developer. And up here I will also change this into money parts 1. So then we need to change it inside the function here, and we'll drop down a line and do local money parts 2, and it will be equal to workspace dot money parts 2. So now this is our new folder that we cloned, or actually duplicated, and here I will change it also into money parts 2. And what this function will do, when we touch any of these parts, it will give us money. So then we can get rid of all of this. So then we'll do part dot touched colon connect function, but this time we don't put player inside, because up here when you click on the part we can get the player easily, but with touched it's not the actual player that is touching the part, but the player's body part, for example a leg or an arm or head or something like that. So inside of this we'll put hit, and what hit will be is basically just a body part. Then we'll do local player. So this is how you get a player when you touch a part. Then we can do players, get player from character. So here it is, and here's a bit of explanation. Returns the player whose character matches the given instance, or nil if one cannot be found. So basically in here, as you can see, character, and then it's a model. So what we will do, because the, again, hit is a body part, and body part is inside of a model of the character, we can just do hit.parent. And then again I will just copy this line because it's the same, drop down a line, and here we can paste it. So this is how you get a player when you have a touched event. And again, because we don't have a function that saves all this money, it's 0. And if I step on this part, and as you can see I got 50, and the reason why that is because I walked on it, so I took a few steps, and each step is my leg hitting the part, as you can see. So as many times as your leg hits this part, then it will give you that amount of money. So for now we have covered click detectors and dot touched, but now I will select the first money parts folder and again duplicate it. We can put it here, and I will recolor these into blue just so we can see the difference. And I will delete all of the click detectors inside of them, and we will also rename this folder into money parts 3. So we have click detector, we have touched, and now these will have a proximity prompt. So you can add the proximity prompt inside of all of these. If you want to, you can change the action text, but I recommend you to first change on one and then just duplicate it inside of all the other parts. And if you don't know how to do that, I will delete these two so I can show you. So click Ctrl C to copy it, then select all the parts you want to copy it inside of, click right click, and then you have it paste into selected at original location, or just paste into selected. This down here is more used for the parts. You can use either of those if you have a proximity prompt or click detector or something like that that is not an actual part or 3D object. So there you have it. You can change action text, hold duration, which I actually will change to 0.5 seconds, so I can show you the difference if you use hold duration more than 0 or just 0, because they're not triggered the same. And if you have a custom proximity prompt, you can change it here, style, from default to custom. And also you have object text and max activation distance, which is basically how far away you can be to trigger it. So I will take this proximity prompt that I've changed, and you can actually just select all of these and put 0.5. So now we go back to the script, make another variable up here outside of the functions. You can call it money parts 3, workspace.money parts 3. And again, I will copy this whole first function, make a bit of space here, and change this comment to money parts 3. And now we need to change a few things here. First one will be changing from money parts 1 to money parts 3. So we get this folder, and everything on this line other than that will remain the same. Then this click detector, will rename it into proximity prompt, and I will just capitalize this first character. And it will also be a part, find for child, which is A, but this time it won't be a click detector, but rather proximity prompt. And then you can copy this and just remove this click detector and paste it here. But now proximity prompt doesn't use mouse click, it uses something else, which if you have hold duration set to 0, it can be triggered. But if it's not 0, if it's like mine, 0.5 or anything other than 0, it will be trigger ended. That's because if you have hold duration 0, it will take basically 1 second or actually less. It just triggers right away. But if you have a hold duration larger than 0, it takes some time, and then we get the trigger ended because we need to wait for the proximity prompt to fill up. And other than that, we can leave this the same. And when I join the game and we trigger this, and as you can see, I get 10 money. We can also walk across these to get money, and if I click on this, I get money. So that's it from this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. You can also join the Discord down below. We almost have 500 members. Also, if you want to advance your scripting or get some models, check out the first link in the description. And in the next video, I will be showing you how to make a GUI so you can actually connect this money and show it here inside of a GUI. Thanks for watching.